All right, you guys. So, good evening. We are going to be going over vision board and just kind of like goal setting. And the first thing that I want to say is that you do not have to have a board. Like your vision board, your goals does not have to look like anybody else's. It can literally be a piece of paper, pen to piece of paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It will kind of like transform along the way. Mine used to look totally different. It used to be like, um, hopefully I don't lose power, but it used to look like little newspaper clippings of like what I thought my vision was. And I will say that your vision will evolve over time. It's not going to stay the same. I will be the first to tell you that I didn't really have a vision when I first started. So if you are at the beginning of your business and you're like, well, I don't even know what I want, you start with what you don't want, right? You start with why you clicked that promoter button in the first place. And so that's where we're actually going to start today. So just know that your vision will evolve along the way and you're going to eventually start to add more things to your vision board. So you start with why, right? You start with why did you click that promoter button? And I want you to ask yourself tonight, how long have you been here? Just have that in your head, right? How long have you been here? And what was the reason that you originally said yes? The reason that you originally clicked that promoter button. And I want you to think about your actual circumstances in that moment. And I'll take you back to mine just a little bit. Just very briefly, I was the nurse who was always gone from her family. I was working overtime just to pay my bills on time. I thought that everybody lived in debt. I thought that paying more per month in debt than my mortgage payment was like normal. And I was like, this is scary. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I was like, I never see my family. I'm sick and tired of this. Like, this can't be what it's all about. Right. And originally, I started this business by wanting free product credit and maybe an extra paycheck. Like, my vision did not go like to like retiring me or retiring Sean or stacking a savings account or anything. It was like literally like, can I get my products for free? And like maybe an extra paycheck. I'm talking about like a $50 paycheck is what that's as big as my vision went. And I sat in that place for a very long time because for me, coming in brand new to network marketing, it was a very slow learning curve for me, where I had to kind of dabble in and figure out what was my voice, why was I here, and growing myself enough to actually speak up and talk about it. There's so many people that used to ask me, especially at the beginning of my business, they would ask me like what that DFT was on my arm, or what's that sticker, right? What's that patch? And I would just kind of push it off because I felt like they were judging me and I felt like I was embarrassed. Like I was embarrassed to wear the DFT. And now it's like, oh my God, like girl, if you don't know what this is, right? Like it takes time to build that confidence. It takes time to build the vision as well. And so it's okay if you are on here tonight and you're like, my vision doesn't go very far. 100% okay. But I want to kind of break it down to you where mine started. Mine started with very ego driven. Okay. It started with, how much do I have in debt? And if you are on a debt journey and you're like, maybe you've got credit cards to pay off, student loans, I don't know what your situation is, but if you have debt, car payments, right, that you need to pay off, I want you to be very open and very honest with yourself. And this is something that needs to be done if you have not already done it, is you write down the number. You write down the number of how much you're in debt. Let me give you an example. Okay. I had to break mine down a little bit, but I started writing down. So I wrote down my debt a very long time ago, and it included my student loans, it included my credit cards, and it included my car payments. Since then, I've taken the car payments out of there and I've only done the student loans and the credit card because I needed this to be bite-sized. Okay. Because when I had the loans, the credit card, and the 2 car payments on here, that was like $81,000 in debt. And to pay off a puzzle piece divided by 120, that was like almost $700 just to be able to fill in one puzzle piece. So I had to get rid of that probably, I don't know, at least 6 months ago. And I simplified it for myself. And so the reason why I say simplify it is write down that number if you're in debt, right? Or savings account, for example. Let's say you want a savings account and you don't have one. If that's one of your goals, write down the big number and then write down what's your bite-sized piece every single week that you can do, right? Can you put $10 towards it from your paycheck every single week? Can you put 25? Like, what can you put towards it every single week? What day of the week is it going to be on? Is it going to be Fridays when you add to that bank account or you pay off some debt? Is it going to be Tuesdays because that's when we're paid? What day of the week is it going to be? You have to be very, very specific. Okay. And so maybe you have financial goals, maybe you have health goals. Maybe you're like, I need to lose weight. Okay, great. What does that look like for you? Right? If I were to write down, like, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, what are my goals? Like, what are my steps to get there? My steps to get there are drinking my water and moving my butt. Right. Like, and so in order to break that down into goals that you put on your monthly view, you write down how many times a week do you want to go to work out or move your body or walk, or, how many ounces of water do you want to drink every single day? And you start with those little bite-sized pieces. And I don't want you to feel like you have to redo or revamp your vision board every single month. You do not. Okay. Every now and then you'll just kind of get the urge, right? And this is kind of where we came from for starting off May with you guys, but we kind of got the urge. We're like, you know what? It's been a while since I've touched this thing. So let's actually like break it down a little bit, and revamp it a little bit. I'm actually not going to completely revamp mine tonight, but I'll show you what mine looks like. But every single month, you absolutely need to be writing down your goals. Somebody remind me at the end of this, I want to break down like monthly goals too. Okay. Actually, I'll probably hit it on this little thing here. So I want to see, how can I do this? Maybe. Okay. I'll try to prop it up. Can't really see it. We'll make it work. You get the gist, I think, without it falling to pieces here. Lord help us. Okay, so we're gonna put biotic in the front of it so it doesn't fall over. Nope, fell over. Hang on. I need something heavier in the back, I think is what I need. Hang on. We're gonna use the knives. We're gonna get creative. Figure it out. Okay, there we go. It's working a little bit better. So what I'll do instead is I'll turn the dang computer. Okay, so the way I broke mine down, like I said, I used to have like little Pinterest, like little magazine cutouts or whatever. And I would literally have like a picture of a wave or a beach house, because like I would love to move closer to the water. Like in my heart, I would love to be closer to the beach. That's something Sean and I have always wanted. And originally I thought that it was like beach house, right? But now I'm thinking like, what if that just means like move closer, like within a 30-minute drive to the beach? Like maybe like that's where we build. Maybe that's where we lay our foundation for our family and where we raise our kids. And so, like I said, your vision will evolve along the way. I had this on my old vision board, but I decided to move this to my refrigerator so it smacks me in the face every single day I look at it. And I'm like, I get to stare at it, especially since it's a financial goal for us and it's something that has weighed us down for so long. I get to stare at it every single day when I look at the refrigerator and I'm like, am I stewarding what I was given? Right? Because there's plenty of times, just because you write down a goal, there's plenty of times where a Tuesday paycheck comes along and I forgot, or I just didn't move the money over. Right. And before you know it, it's just like the compound effect and you're going in the total opposite direction than you used to. And sometimes like, it's okay to hang on to that money. Sometimes it's okay that, maybe it's a hard season for you and every single dollar of your paycheck needs to go to your bills. I understand that, but eventually you might get to the point where you want to stack a savings account or pay off some debt. Right. So that's just part of mine. What else did I have on there? I had a picture of me and Sean. I had a picture of the girls, but like that wasn't drawing me to anything, right? Like that wasn't like I would wake up and I would look at it and I would write like, I used to write like, we are 4K, we are 12K. and that sort of thing at the top. And then I would write like little sayings and little quotes that kind of like inspired me as a leader. Like I would write, a rising tide raises all ships, meaning like you got to grow yourself if you want your team to grow. I still believe that 100%, but I needed to break this down a little bit more. And so I feel like I did this maybe the beginning of the year. I don't remember, but I started breaking it down to business goals, right? I'm very weird, very color coordinated. I don't know why this started in nursing school. Okay, it's just part of me. But my business goals are orange. My financial goals are green. Imagine that. And then my team goals over here are pink, right? And so these are things that like maybe y'all said you wanted. We're going to break this down a little bit. And then I have over here weekly goals, and then here's some personal goals down at the bottom. You can't really see them, but personal goals, that's like going to the gym 4 times a week minimum, right? That's me trying to stick to a bedtime or whatever my personal goals are. But I want you to start with business goals. And so you might think that a business goal for you would be your next rank, right? That might be something that you write down. So you might write down business goal 4K, right? So that might be a little sticky note, or it might be something that you write at the top of your paper. You write 4K. Okay, well, how do you break that down, right? You break that down by maybe 2 people that you can help go VIP 1600, right? And so, for example, I put on here 4 personally enrolled 4Ks. And so I wrote 4 lines. So I've got Harriet right here, and then we've got Sean. So we've got 2 4Ks, and I've got 2 more spaces. Right. And this is just kind of like where my vision started, with us reaching for our next rank as 40K. Then I have over here 2 personally enrolled 12Ks. And so when I look at that every single morning, and for you, it might be 2 personally enrolled VIP 1600s and 1 4K, right? Stretch yourself a little bit. Right. And so you wake up every single day, and it's not, instead of you looking at your vision board and going, okay, I need to go 4K, it's okay, I need to help somebody else go VIP 1600. And so it switches in your brain a little bit, that it's not just about you, it's actually about somebody else. And maybe you show up a little different in your stories. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. So you write down like your big rank goal. What's your big commission goal? Monthly commission. You don't have to say it in the chat. Think it in your head, right? Think it in your head. For me, my big commission goal used to be 4K, 4 grand, only because I wanted to equal my nursing paycheck, if I'm being honest with you. And I thought, well, if I could at least equal my nursing paycheck, then I've won, right? And so whatever that comfortable, whatever that mark in your brain where you're just like, that would be amazing, I want you to double it. Because we can always do more, right? Look at Karen's face. We can always do more. We can always stretch. If you are stretching beyond what you think is capable, you're going to land somewhere where you actually want it to be, right? That's the, I don't want to say the magic of thinking big. Like that is the magic of thinking big though. It's, you're stretching yourself so far that you're eventually going to land where you really wanted to in the first place, or where you were actually meant to be, right? And so also, what are some examples? 12K on Sean's account. So I wrote that as a goal, but what does that mean for me? That means that maybe I want to personally enroll 4Ks over there, right? And so that comes into play with, you know, when I'm enrolling new promoters, who am I putting them under, me or him? I look at that every single month. And so maybe for you, it's, when do I want to open up a spouse account? Or a sister or a mom or whatever. You can start building a second account that is within compliance with Lavelle. You can build a second account. Okay. And so I have Sean as a promoter. Keep in mind, whenever you flip a spouse or you flip somebody over to promoter, you got a VIP period to run for. Okay. So be ready for it. And just because you didn't hit it the last time doesn't mean that you can't, right? Maybe it's a challenge. Maybe it's something that you want to put in the little back of your mind where you're like, you know what, like, I want to see what I can do with this, right? Flip to promoter, let's go, right? That's also opening yourself up to a second paycheck, right? So you've got your paycheck on your account that you're capable of creating. You also have a paycheck on a spouse account, a mom account, whoever, right? That you are capable of creating. Just to kind of think a little bit bigger, you guys. It's not just, you're building your business on your one account. This also opens you up to free product credit twice, right? I know it's scary to open up a spouse account. I know it's scary. Okay. It's meant to be. Why do I look like a man? It's meant to be scary. It's meant to push you. It's meant to take you to the next level. Okay. But only you are going to know when you're ready for that. And when you're ready for that, come to me and I will help you. Okay. But that might be something that you put on there. You might put like, hey, I'm ready to make my spouse a promoter account and we're going to run that. I put on here 2022 team retreat because I was so heartbroken that I couldn't go to Palooza with you guys. So I would love to be able to do something for you guys at some point this year. Do I know when? Do I know where? Do I know what? No, but it's on my vision board, right? And then I also put down a weekly goal stretch, right? So I ask you how much, and then you don't have to, please don't answer this in the chat because I do not want to get into like comparison mode at all. But I want you to ask yourself, how much do you know how much you're making each month with Le-Vel? And if you don't know that, then you're not treating this like a business. And it's a little bit of a gut check that sometimes we need to hear, right? If you don't know how much you're making a month, you're not treating this like a business. If you don't know what your weekly paychecks average, you're not treating this like a business. If you don't know how many samples you sold in the month of April, you're not treating this like a business. You're just hoping for a sample to come along, right? But if you actually write down those numbers, then you get to start off from that number the next month, or at least that's how I see it. Like I look at my accomplishments from the month before and I say, okay, this is what I did in April. I'm going to up it a little bit in May. Right? Financial goals. So those are just some business goals. If you guys have any other business goals that like speak to your heart, feel free to throw them in the chat. But that's just kind of what I came up with so far. At some point, we're not ready for it, but at some point, I'm thinking maybe when we hit like 25 in volume, that maybe we'll have our own team page. I was kind of thinking maybe wait till 40K, but we'll see. So that's something that I might put up there eventually. Anyways, you might want to put on there like how you want to show up for your business, right? And that's where I want to get into, this might be a little bit backwards. Hold on, we'll get to that in a second. Hold that thought, pause. Let's move on to financial goals. So what are your financial goals? So for a savings account, what do you think would make you feel good? Like, what do you think would make you feel secure? I'll give you an example. Dave Ramsey says that you should have at least 6 months of mortgage and bills in your savings account. So if that doesn't scare you, right? We've got work to do to get to that point because I'm not at that point at all. But I would love to be. I would love to know what that feels like, right? I would love for, I'm not that I'm saying like I would love for something to happen, but I would love to get to a place where I'm like, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if we go into medical debt. It doesn't matter, right? Like Sean and I are entering a season where we're probably going to have some medical debt. We're probably, the next couple months are going to be really hard because we're going to have to pay for two kids to go back into daycare. Since he has to work 5 days a week now instead of his normal 2 24-hour shifts. It's just, since he had surgery, the seasons are changing a little bit. And so it is going to start to be a little bit hard for us. And so not every, paycheck am I going to be able to put towards debt, but it's like, it's your vision. It's where you want to go. And so what would that feel like to you to have 6 months of mortgage and 6 months of all your bills in your bank account? Maybe that's a goal for you. I sat down and I urge you to do this if you have a spouse. Even if you don't have a spouse, maybe you have kids. I urge you to sit down and ask them what they want. right? Because mama's treating this like a business now. And you're going to say, you know what, like anything's possible. What are some things you would like to do? Or what are some things that, you wish that we had, but we just don't have right now? Because I would like to write that down. Um, my kids have a lot of vision in our next home. And so we talk a lot about that next home, because I've had like build my dream home on my vision board for forever. I even had like the old blueprints that we used to draw up, like literally by hand. I have that on my old vision board. But we talk about it weekly, right? And I know that Kaylin wants a purple room and she wants unicorns. And I know that they want a playroom and they want their bedrooms to be upstairs. That I know. They want an upstairs. They want a garage for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe put their bikes in. I don't know. It's probably because we only have a shed. Like our little house here didn't come with a garage, so we had to buy like a little Amish shed. So that's probably where that comes from. But like I get ideas from them, right? And every now and then, like I don't even bring it up and they bring it up to me. They're like, Mama, I want to make sure that, in my room, I want to have a lamp that looks like this or whatever. I'm just like, okay, baby. Like it keeps that vision alive for me because I've shared it with somebody else. And so as the example with Sean, like I share it with him, right? We talk about how we want to move closer to the beach. We talk about what we want that house to look like one day. We talk about what it's going to feel like to pay off student loans and to pay off the credit card. So you have to have those conversations with your spouse and bring them into it. And this is where, having that conversation, it opens up like maybe a whole nother level for you, because I did not have 10K in savings, like in my vision. He's the one that said he wanted 10K in savings. Sorry. Right? He said, sorry, but he's the one. Right. And so I said, okay, we're gonna make that happen. Right. But before we get there, we got to have 5K in savings. So you see how I made myself like little stepping stones. You probably can't even read that, but that's what that says. And then I have a stepping stone below that would be to pay off my credit card and pay off my student loans. Right. And then on top of that, y'all, I'm so weird, but here we go. I have another Post-it note on my refrigerator, and every month I look to see what my balance is on this card, on my student loans and on our credit card. And I know that my student loans are under $2,000 right now. And that is a feeling that keeps me going, right? So keep yourself in check. Know what your debt is. Know what are some big things that you want to put on your vision board. And you don't have to break it down like me, where you've got business goals and financial goals or whatever. Like I said, literally it can be a piece of paper, but you have to stretch yourself, right? So if you have on your vision board that maybe you want like $1,000 in savings, that's baby step number one. I don't know if you guys know Dave Ramsey. He's got the debt snowball. And the first step in paying off debt, he says, is to make sure you have $1,000 in savings. After that, you tackle the one with the smallest monthly payment, not the one with the highest interest rate, which most people go for because they think, oh, well, I have to get rid of the one with the highest interest rate, but you're actually going to pay off the one with the smallest amount due per month faster. Right. And so let's say you paid off one, like last year we paid off a couple of them, and it cleared up like $300 a month for us. And so that was, again, $300 a month extra now that I could go put on something else. I could go put on the credit card, or I could go put on the other loan or whatever. So those are just some examples. And then over in pink, I've got my team goals. And you might be thinking, well, I don't have a team yet. And it's okay if you don't have a team yet. If you do have a team that is Q&A, qualified, active, showing up to Zooms. If you have a team, ask them what they want, right? This is why I've asked you guys, what do you want? What can I put on here, right? I put Kristen, $200 a month to help with bills. Kristen, you call me out if I need to put something extra on here, but that's what I have for you. And I have Kristen gets her own car. Karen, I have rent on auto pay. I feel like I had something else for you. I think I had Thriving for free, and then you earned your free product credit, and I took that one off. But we need to add some more stuff on here. Kelly wanted me to put She wants to earn a getaway. So I'm going to update that. So what are some of your team goals? If you don't have a team yet, I still want you to make a team goals section. And if you don't have a team yet, that's where you go live or you hop face to face on your stories and you say, this is my vision board. I didn't used to have a vision. And this is where I came from. This is where I'm at now. I know I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm getting there. I'm on my way. And you say, this is my vision for where I'm going. And maybe you turn the camera around, right? And you're like, if I were to put you on here, what's something that you would want? You start talking to your audience as if they're about to sign up with you, right? And so you ask them, what would you put on here, right? Maybe it's like a poll, or maybe it's just like I said, face to face. You start asking, you put it in your post, you put it on a reel or whatever, however you want to do it, put it in your content. Start talking to them and say, you know what, like I'm the type of leader where I want you on my board. I want to know what you want because I'm not just fighting for me. I show up for the mama that needs this too. I show up for the mom who wants to know what it's like to go to the grocery store and not have to worry about what's in that bank account. I show up for the mama that wants to know what it's like to fill the gas tank up all the way, to be able to actually have a savings account, to be able to buy the kids new clothes, both at the same time, right, Karen? Both at the same time. Stuff like that. Like you think it's just like something silly. It's not. That's stuff that resonates with people. And so kind of like do your own market analysis. I know we're getting 30 minutes in here, but do your own market analysis as far as like what's on your timeline when you're doing engagements, interactions. What are people putting on their stories? What are they struggling with? What questions are they asking? And how can you answer them through your content? Let's see. Over here in yellow, I have my weekly goals. So these are my big things, right? And some of these things scare the crap out of me, and it should. But then over here, I have, okay, what can I do every single week to get me closer to taking one of these off? And so, for example, I put like $50 into savings each week. Like I said, I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes I forget, and sometimes it just has to go to bills. But $50 into savings, I thought was a good start for me. So if you need to do something different, do something different. If savings is not your goal, do you know what I mean? You're putting down what are little bite-sized pieces every single week that you can do to get you closer to these. How many samples I want to sell and how many customers and how many promoters. This I need to upgrade a little bit because I'm going to up my ante a little bit on my samples, and I'm going to challenge myself to 6 a week, because I know that I can do more, right? And it's my responsibility to hold myself accountable and say, you know what, Amber, like you know you can do more. You need to show your face more. You need to actually get out there and talk about it more. And so I'll talk about it here on the weekly planning here, but I wrote down how many customers and I wrote down how many promoters. I used to have this as a little tiny stickies along the side. You can do that too. That's an idea. And every time you sell a sample, you take it off. And I used to have like 15 of them on there. So I don't know why I got 4 right here. What a joke, right? Like I used to have like 15 and I would go boom, 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 boom. And I would take them off. When you see more, you're like, oh shit, I got to get to work, right? Stretch yourself a little bit. Stretch yourself beyond what you are used to doing. So this I'm going to update for sure. Customer, promoter, and then I've got my personal goals at the bottom. So personal goals might be like, I'm going to post every single day, or I'm going to show my face on my stories every single day, or I'm going to hit the gym, or I'm going to read a book this month, right? What are some of your personal goals? And then I have it broken down. I still need to cut the bottom off of this. But in this little space here, I'm so weird. I have a little post-it note that has like lines in it, and it's got my May goals. And so I have May goals, just to break it down one step further, is 1 live video a week at minimum. And then I have 4 little nerdy check boxes that I can check them off each week, right? 1 opportunity event per week. And then 4 nerdy check boxes, right? Finish Story Brand. That is one of the books that I'm reading. finish Fearless Leader. That's another book that I'm reading. I want to finish those books up because I've got a whole slew of books that I want to order. And I definitely could be reading more. I put one live on the team page because that scares the crap out of me. And I've been saying I'm going to do it since March and I never made it happen. I'm going to do a giveaway for our customers this month. And I don't know what it's going to be, probably maybe collagen gummies or sleepy gummies. I've got some in my pantry. And I think what I want to do for us, just while you guys are here, is I want to do like a share your testimonial kind of thing. And so I might have them comment on a post, on a thread. Should I do it all month? I don't know. Have them comment on a post in our team, in our customer page. Like, what's your Thrive experience? Like, how long have you been thriving? What are your favorite products? And like, what's your story? Like, what's your transformation with the products? I'll word it a little bit better, but basically I want to have a little thread of them in the customer page so that you can actually, like, maybe you can take screenshots of it, use it in your stories a little bit. And then for them, just for sharing their experience, they'll be entered into a giveaway. I put rest on Sundays because I feel like that's a mindset shift for me that I need to have, because in my mind, I feel like if I rest, that things, not that they fall apart, but I don't give myself enough rest. And I want to challenge myself to do that, to take a day and to understand that the business isn't going to fall apart if I take a rest day a week. Right. Because I remember
Junior just pulled an I told you so. He heard you say that. He's like, I told you so.
what?
Because I've been laying on the couch all day with my dogs, like in and out, like checking messages and stuff. But like, I felt like crap because I did that. And I'm like, I ain't got time to do that. I got to get this business going. Like, there's stuff I got to do. Like, there's content I got to create. Like, this is one of my only freaking days off that I get from the gas station. I need to work my actual business, the business I want to work. And he was like, it's okay. You can take a day. I said, no, I can't. And then he just heard you say that. And he just said, I told you so.
You can take a day. You can take a day. And that's one of the things I love about our leadership. When I watch Katie and I watch some of our other leaders who actually take breaks, I remember talking to Katie last year, FaceTiming her, and I was kind of in a funk and she was like, you're all in your head. And I'm like, no, I'm not in my head, but really I was. And she said, take some time off, like take a day off. And I was like, I can't take a day off. I was like, I'm not at the rank I want to be at yet. I haven't hit my goals yet. I'm not making the paycheck I want to make yet. And I said, I have no excuse to stop. And she was just like, okay. Right. But then eventually you kind of back yourself into that corner where you're like, you know what, I'm feeling it, right? Like I'm feeling burnt out. And then I think to myself, like, what does my team think when I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they see me still posting on my stories at 10 o'clock at night? Or what are the people that are maybe on the edge and they do want to join me? What are they thinking? Man, I don't want to have to work that much. She's always in her stories, right? And so I want to teach myself more balance. It's definitely not something that's going to be completed in May, but I've got to start making some moves. And so that's just some personal goals. So I wrote down like some May goals, right? So some May goals for you might be, what are you reading? What are you reading? How frequently are you posting? Is it every single day? Oh, I love it. Can you say that you're consistent? Can you say that you're showing your face on your stories? One thing I put in my stories the other day, was it yesterday? I don't know. And Kelly called me out. I didn't call me out. She made a very good point. I said in my story, I don't understand, because whenever I'm engaging, doing interactions on social media, I'm like, how is this person, like it says like top 1% of my company, but then it's like they don't got a story up. I'm like, what do you mean? Right? You're not utilizing your stories. You're not showing your face on your stories. And if you are using your stories, it's just product, and then you don't see anything of them the rest of the day. So it's like, how do I know you're not a robot? Right? And so challenge yourself to not be that. And I said, where are all the humans? And Kelly goes, they're all on your team. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay, Kelly, okay. But like, don't be that person. Like, challenge yourself to share more of you. That's one thing that I'm getting back to for May is I want to post more about like me and then go a little bit more sales heavy in my stories.
I went FaceTime. I went FaceTime on the tag team promo, but I've been going FaceTime a lot the past 2 days, especially. Like I had like all the little mini dots because I was just like, I've been driving legally lately and it's just been so surreal. Like my husband's in the passenger seat, like I'm driving my husband to work and it's just like, what? And it blows my mind. So it's like I've been going FaceTime on my stories on that, but I also go FaceTime about products and promos and stuff like that. And I'm getting ready to switch from the capsules to the multivitamin gummies. I'm
Mhm.
going to see what that does, but I'm going to share that experience and be like, hey, like I have trouble swallowing capsules. The company just came out with these gummies. I'm going to try the gummies and see what's up with that. So like I'm going to end up going FaceTime on that too. So like, but that's like me experiencing something, but also sharing the products.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so I think whenever you do a vision board or you're writing down your goals for the month, I think you have to be open and honest with yourself as far as like, how much work have I been putting in? And so this is where only you can have that conversation with yourself and know, like I said, like how many samples we got out, how many times we posted, were we consistent? Did we share a face? Is the content that we're sharing, is it all products and business? I ended up asking, who did I ask? I think I asked M the other day. I was like, hey, can you just like take a look at my content and just tell me, like, I don't know if maybe I'm in my head or I'm in a funk or what. And I think I probably was for a day, but she got back to me and she was like, so when I look at your page, it's very product and business heavy, and I don't really see much of you. I'm like, okay, noted. So I'm going to start to try to like change that up a little bit. Because one thing that I have noticed is your post and the content that you put on your feed, that is what attracts your community. But what builds your community is your stories. And we do have to be careful that we don't put up 500 because they're going to bore out in 3 and be overwhelmed that they have to click through 500 of them, right? But I think there is a balance with that too, because there's some days where I've got like 5 or 6 stories, and then there's some days where I've got like 20. So it is what it is. Find that balance for yourself. It's not going to be the exact same thing that works for me. When you get to, I don't know if you guys were on the planning Zoom for today, but I wanted to kind of go over that a little bit because we talked about like having an idea for what you're posting each day. Maybe you're doing a reel each day. If you haven't gotten into a habit of doing reels consistently, maybe that goes on your vision board or goes on your May goals of how many per week or how many per month you want to do. Maybe that's a goal. But I also write in here, like, when do I want to go live? When are our team Zooms? When are the work with me's that I want to show up to? I write down what my focus is. That's really helped me since I've started writing down focused IPAs instead of trying to get everything done in one day. So for me, like, I think we talked about this before, but Mondays and Wednesdays, adding to my network. I'll do like one round of engagement, 5 minutes on each platform in the morning, for example, for tomorrow. And then the rest of the day, when I have the pockets of time and my one and dones are finished, my posting, my products in my stories, my reel, right? My self-development. Those are like my one and dones. I check my birthdays now just to kind of see if it's anybody that I consistently talk to, then I'll say happy birthday to them. But personally, I don't spend a lot of time doing that anymore because I realized it wasn't growing my business. That's just me. You might have a lot of engagement, a lot of conversations out of birthdays. Take what you want, leave what you don't. But I'll add to my network in the little pockets that I can on Monday. Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to be my heavy days where I'm doing my interactions, right? And so, like I said, I'll do the 5 minutes of engagement in the morning. I'll add to my network on both, and then I'll do my one and dones. And then the rest of the day, whenever I get a second, I will try to throw in some interactions. And it's okay if it's just like 2 minutes on stories, 2 minutes on whatever, 2 minutes on reels. It's okay. It doesn't matter the amount. What matters is that that's your focus for the day and you got it done. Right. But it really helps me to break it down like that instead of thinking, okay, I've got to do my engagements. I've got to add to my network every single day. I've got to do all of this. versus one and done, put it down, and then focus on your interactions. Fridays I clean up, Saturdays I try to like create something. So maybe it's an opportunity story or a product story or testimonials or blah, blah, whatever. And then on Sundays, I'm going to try to take social media breaks. I'm going to try. What was I going to say though? I write down on here the trials that I want to get out, the customers that I want to sign, promoters that I want to sign. I write down things like what I want to put in my stories. So for example, tomorrow, credits day, you might want to put credits in your stories. Tuesday's payday. So payday on stories. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to start talking about trials. I'm going to try to do that consistently. Just so that I have more of a, what's the word, structure every single week. And then Thursdays, I don't know, it's just something about my brain goes, okay, I'm gonna talk about trials, and then they're about to get paid the next day. So maybe we'll see. Let's see. I wrote down, I think that's it. The Zooms and everything, but just get an idea, get more organized. Each and every week, whenever you go to the planning Zooms, write down the things that you want to get done for the week so that every single week, when you start checking off things on your list, you know you're moving closer to this, right? And it doesn't matter if it's check marks or if it's the little post-it notes that you want to rip off. It really doesn't matter what your vision board looks like. What matters is that you get back to why you clicked that button. What were your circumstances? Could you pay your bills on time? Were you tired of being away from your family? Were you constantly fighting over money with your spouse? Were you constantly having to tell your kids no because you didn't have the money for it? Were you constantly scared? Did you used to be able to fill the gas tank up? Like these things, what are the circumstances that brought you to this? That's where you need to keep talking in your pain points of why you said yes, but also that is your starting point for your vision for what you want. Okay. I love you guys. I hope this was helpful.
Amber, I just want to say real quick, you got your colorful vision board there. I think visualization has actually helped me, like having something visual, not just writing things down. That's important. But when I do my planner now, I do the highlighter stuff too. You're not the only one. And every month, sometimes every month is different. Sometimes every month it's the same colors, but like I'll have my orders in green, I have family stuff in blue, and I have business in orange. So you can actually see at the end of the month what's highlighted more. Like, are you just busy being busy and it's all orange? Or do you actually have like a bunch of green highlighters and you've had a lot of orders placed, samples out, stuff like that? And then every planner has like that little area that you can write down your goals for that month. And then of course, you have a little bit of a larger thing, but I just kind of work off of this basically. And I always write down every single month 5 samples. Enroll 2 customers, and then in parentheses I'll put in on a pack. So yeah, I've enrolled 2 customers. Maybe they just want to order the capsules, maybe they just want to order the shakes, but I'll put in parentheses to push myself packs, right? Like I'll tell them my experience with it, enroll 2 promoters, and in parentheses on packs, right? Because sometimes promoters just want to get the DFTs. I get it. So, and then if I need to place an order, I'll write that down too, because I don't want to, go without my own products, because I've done that before where I've miscalculated. I've seen your stories. I've done the same thing and I've miscalculated my labels, and that was really bad. So I put on here order multi gummies and labels. So like I need to order the multi gummies and the labels this month. So it's really that visualization is key no matter what you're doing. And of course I have Op Live every single Monday. I like to do mine on Mondays because everybody hates Mondays. So like to try to teach people to fall in love with Mondays. And then of course, if Junior's got a doctor's appointment, I'm starting to incorporate 2 locals a month with another promoter that's in my area. So we're going to do that twice this month, on the 14th and on the 28th. I have to write that on my work calendar. I'm putting it in my planner. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to put that on the planner so she doesn't schedule me, and boom, right? Like having my license has actually freed up so much. Like it's just created so many freedoms. And I have my vision board But I also have, like you, that little post-it right here on the corner of my desk. I need to get so much money for a transfer because we're in a townhouse right now that's 2 stories and we want a flat.
Mhm.
So we want that. And then I'm signing with a personal trainer this month. I want my wedding band set. And I want to get that Lavelle decal for my car, especially if I'm going to start doing locals. I want to start ordering stuff to, they see this on my car. Oh my gosh, okay, we're going to go see what this is about.
Mhm.
So it's the visualization is good. The highlighters is amazing. The colored post-its, all of it. You've got to see what you're doing because you can't just, because then you think, well, I'm doing all of the things, but are you really?
Mhm.
So if you're actually writing everything down and highlighting each one, like what it is, like I really don't have a lot of family time going on this month. You need to schedule that. You know what I mean? Like it can't just be all that business color highlighter. It's got to be your life.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, you guys. Have a good night.